Good to go.
All set?
I hope so.
Noreen, are you able to do a roll call, please? Oh, did we lose Noreen?
Chairman Payne,
Present.
Commissioner Bashand,
Here.
Commissioner Bechter,
Here.
Commissioner Hutzberger, Commissioner Karanian, Commissioner Conley, Commissioner Dunning.
Here.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
Thank you, Noreen. So
Okay,
we're
you're
gonna
welcome.
place Sharon in as a full member.
Okay.
Perfect. And before we begin, I'm gonna explain how the ZBAs run. There's two parts to the meeting. The first is a public session in which the petitioner will begin by stating their name and address and explain their petition and what their hardship is. After the petition has been heard, anyone from the public may speak and express whether they are for or against the petition. After all the public participation is heard, the public session of the meeting will be closed. During the work session, the public may stay but cannot comment. If the petitioner does stay for the work session, that's fine. If not, they can call the building department in the morning and they will let you know what the decision is. And so it's, Tim, are you there?
Yes.
So,
Yes. Hello.
hi. So we have only 4 members this evening, so it is slightly different. I'm not sure, I think, Eric, you spoke to him about the kind of an idea about it, but I'll explain it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so since there's only 4 members seated, you would have to have 4 yes votes to be approved for this variance. So you do have the option now of letting it be heard by us, and we could possibly make the decision tonight. We might not. But if we do make the decision, it would have to be all 4 yeses. So you do have that option to choose what you would like to do. There definitely will be a meeting in the first December 7th, I think it is.
Yep.
No matter what. So if you do choose to wait to hope for a more than 4 people, then you definitely have that right to do that. And I want to make sure that you have that decision that you can make before we go ahead.
Okay. So, is that kind of?
I'm really sorry, but you were completely breaking up on
Yeah.
us, so I couldn't hear anything that you said.
So, what happens if someone does no? Do I have to change file in December, or how does that exactly work?
Again, you were breaking up pretty bad, Tim. We apologize.
Can you call?
He could call in. Yeah.
Hey, Tim, could you call in?
I
We
said,
can't
what
really
happens
hear
if
you.
someone? Absolutely. Okay, what's the number?
What's the,
I don't know the number to call in. Just have to bear
Is
with
it
me.
the same one for the town councils and all that? Is it always the same number?
Think so, but I am
I
not
think I had it
sure.
somewhere. We could try.
Bear with me a minute. I will see what I can find.
Isn't it the number that's the same as the webinar link? Is it one
It
of those
should be,
numbers?
yes.
Yeah,
that's the phone number?
yeah, it's one of those numbers and it usually has a password or something on it too, that he's gonna have to use.
Yep, he has the password already for the, I think, for the.
You have not entered any number. Please.
Maybe that's him. Tim, if you are gonna call in and you find that number, just mute your screen that you have.
Oh, Mike Conley is now on.
Oh, he is now.
So there we got the 5.
it's a moot point, but you won't be able to get anything across anyway.
Right.
So Tim, if you can hear me, the number is 833-548-0276. And you use the same meeting ID and password to get in. Did you hear us, Tim?
Can you say the number one more time?
Sure, hold on one second. Let me just pull it back. Where did
Yeah, can you say the number one more time?
Yep, it's 833-548-0276. And then you'll just need the meeting ID number and the password, which is in your email you got for the Zoom meeting. And just so you know, the fifth member did show up, so we do have
Okay, give
5.
me 2
You have not
We have 5 now?
But we still need to hear him at least, so I think it might be best. I don't know. But yes, we're gonna seat Michael Connolly as well.
to continue.
Read
You have
this.
not entered any number. Please re-enter the meeting
I'm gonna
password.
read it into the minutes too, just
Yeah,
to be safe for everyone.
seems like it ought to get passed.
You guys hear that? Because I'm having with the ID.
Can't you?
I know.
What's the web ID password?
I know. Okay, wait.
Nice.
Please re-enter your meeting ID.
If you're close, Tim, you could also drive down. I know you are, I don't know if you're in town, but
You have placed on this meeting.
I honestly didn't know that was in person. I think
we just can't hear you at all. You break up so badly.
it's saying that I'm in but
Do you have his phone number? Maybe we should, do we have a phone to be able to call like that? It would be, like, go through?
They used to have the phone, but they don't do that anymore. They used to have it in the room with people to call
But
in.
if you just put them on speakerphone on your own phone, maybe the last resort.
Could be.
It's probably something that, some other device or something is interfering with the signal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I see. Hold on. All right, you got it. Your phone ends in 995, Tim?
Yes, beautiful.
Okay, you're on, you're good.
Okay. That was a process.
Yeah, that was fun.
So Tim, you can actually disregard what we had talked to you about on the four-person, because if I'm not mistaken, Michael Connolly, correct? Mike, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Michael Connolly, we're gonna seat him as well. And you are gonna have your fifth member, so you shouldn't have to worry about the yeses or the nos, that you have to have 4 full yeses with the
Only 4.
only 4 people.
Okay, beautiful.
All right. Noreen, could you please read the petition if possible?
Looks like Noreen dropped off.
Oh, no.
No, she's there somewhere. I don't know if she's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, or I was gonna say I can read it. Yeah, I'll read it. Petition 00-23-04, 65 Culver Street, R20 zone, requesting a variance for an expansion of a legally non-conforming residential use. Applicant, contact owner Timothy Potvin.
Just as a clarification, it is zone PD, not R20. That's a mistake on the agenda. I apologize. It is as it is up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Was that its previous zone?
Zone is R20, correct?
So I'll make that for the next, sorry. So Tim, if you could, start off just stating your name, address, and then going ahead and talking to us about this petition.
Okay, beautiful. So my name is Timothy Potvin. The address is 65 Culver Street, Newington. So basically this has been a long, stressful process. Originally I'm from Newington, and I was in the hopes of moving back here and buying this house. So within buying the house, beforehand we did our due diligence. We have the listing from MLS stating that it was residentially zoned at the time of purchase. We went down to the town, pulled the public record. It stated that it was residentially zoned as well. So there was no kind of red flags for us to do any more digging based on the house being a residential house. Not any red flags for me. It's use house. It's not a business on the house. It's just a regular, single family home. Until further on after we purchased it and we went for, basically the process to start for a permit, we were then told about the zone change. Everything else is kind of summarized in the filing as far as, what is thought and what we're going through as of now. If you guys have any questions, I would be more than welcome to answer them.
Okay. I'll, right now I'll read into the minutes exactly what,
I just brought up.
oh, perfect. What Tim had wrote back of his hardship for the filing of this. Hi, Eric, per our conversation, I would like to review this message of the hardship before this is filed. We were sold this property under false pretenses. The listing agent of this home led us to believe this house was zoned as residential and would not be a problem putting an addition on to the home because the house as is undersized for a growing family. The MLS listing of this property has this home zoned as residential. The town assessor's office had this home as residential, even though they had changed the zone a year prior. All the paperwork given to us said zoned residential, which we still possess for proof. This home is the only property that has been and still is being used as a residential home in this zone. This negatively affects this property in multiple ways by this ruling of being rezoned to planned development. One negative effect is this home does not meet the lot size requirements to be redeveloped under the town guidelines. These conditions show this hardship is out of my control as the homeowner of this property. Lot size is too small to redevelop and is a residential property, which is a unique property condition for this zone, being the only residential property in this zone. Does anyone have any questions
I just have a couple of points to clarify
Go
on
for
that.
it.
The property can be redeveloped for certain things because it only requires a minimum of 1 acre in the PD zone for some things. So it's not completely undevelopable.
Okay.
As that zoned, that's all.
Okay. Sharon or Mike or,
I have a
Have you-
question. I just need to understand what planned zone means.
So the planned development zone is hold on one second. It's just a differently zoned parcel of land that allows more and different types of uses such as commercial, residential and stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the southerly end of the Berlin Turnpike is zoned as planned development.
Right.
And this property got rezoned as such as well.
Meaning that it could be commercial, like,
Yes.
so I guess the first thing that came to mind when I read this was eminent domain.
The town was not, the town didn't take the property. The
Right, no, but in the
developer-
future, they could?
Could the town, I mean, the town could take any property. Are they going to? No,
Okay.
I don't
No, I
expect
just
them
wanted to
to.
understand that because I didn't know if it was already I mean, I didn't understand why in 2021, the zoning got changed. And, now we're looking at this and it does create a hardship for this homeowner. And why it wasn't reconciled before he got to this, had to come to the appeals process.
So the reason it got rezoned was there's a developer came in looking at the Culver Street property and they rezoned all of the properties that they were intending on potentially utilizing. This parcel never got included in the final plans or design because there was still somebody living in the house at the time.
Oh, okay.
And the family just wanted her to age out in the home.
So it got missed.
I think it got rezoned and there's nothing, nothing got missed per se. I mean, it is what it is. Usually when these properties go on to the real estate market, I fielded a number of calls from realtors and people looking to buy this property when it first went on the market. And I told them it had been rezoned and most of them are calling to subdivide it and do other things. And I told them that, it wouldn't be allowed as it is the PD zone. So, but I did talk to a couple of realtors and a couple of potential buyers at the time.
anyone else? John?
Just for Eric, along the same lines, so if this parcel wasn't part of the development, why was it just scooped up in that zone change?
That was up to the applicant. They decided to include it.
The applicant didn't own the property at the time though, did they?
No,
Oh, they were just, but they had
Yeah.
permission to,
yeah, the owner signed off on it, yeah. So, we weren't sure if it was gonna be intended to be looped into the final project at some point in the future. We had no idea.
Bill, any questions for the petitioner or Mike?
No, I don't.
At the moment,
Okay. Okay.
I don't have them.
Tim, have you ever thought of maybe getting it rezoned back to an R20 zone so that there would be no nonconformities and you could be able to do whatever you'd like?
I was advised to go this way.
Okay. Okay,
From the town.
okay,
I would say that if this happens to fail, that would be an option open to them.
okay. John?
yeah. I was a little skeptical from the beginning, but then when I read that one line, that this property can't be redeveloped under that in the PD zone, but now Eric clarified that would have been a saving grace for me because a lot of this other stuff, like they were sold it under false pretenses. That to me seems like, like errors and omissions or, someone didn't do their due diligence. But then when I read this line about it's changed to a PD, but they can't even use it as a PD, that would have convinced me that, okay, he's got a valid case, a strong case. But now Eric seems to
I'm just saying,
put
the
some
PD's,
cold water on that.
I'm just pointing it out. PD uses, you only need 1 acre for retail or commercial, 1 acre for office, 1 acre for industrial. You do need 5 acres for residential, so you couldn't put residential there because unless it was included in a larger piece, because it's only a couple of acres or 2 acres, yeah.
So if he wants, can I keep going? If he
Yeah,
wants
absolutely.
to do anything in the future, he would have to always come back to here, any kind of.
No, that's why we're saying, you know,
Well,
we're
yeah,
we're kind of,
right.
no, we're kind of clearing it up. These are the additions he wants to put on. They're, you know. So anything over and above that and to continue to use it as a residential use. So accessory things to the residential use, you know, sheds, decks, pools. I think if you approve this, that's what we're doing. I think that's the intent. You know, we're not trying to make him come back every time he has to do
So we're
something.
approving future projects, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't want- yeah. But then
So
you're
we're
making
almost
a,
like changing the zone ourselves.
yeah, but you're almost making like a
Making
more
it compliant.
non-conforming.
Well, he's still gonna have to adhere to setbacks and everything else for that zone, which are actually a little more stringent than what the residential zone would be.
My question is though, is that he's making this addition and he wants to say, you know, maybe in 10 years, he has a larger family and this isn't enough and he wants to go a little bit bigger, which by all means, that's great. But then he'd have to come back because he's adding a footprint onto
If
that same
he's gonna
house.
expand the footprint, yes. Do accessory things such as sheds, decks and pools, you know,
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's perfectly fine. But
Okay,
And this would not have a need to go back to TPC? It would just always come back to the ZBA?
Have to go to building.
well, it'd have to come to us to
Okay.
approve it. Cause
Right.
we would be.
I'm sorry, I'm
it would
hearing a
be-
lot of voices, so I missed what a couple people said. I'm sorry. That we both were talking at the
No,
same time.
No, go ahead, Sharon, I'm sorry.
No, I just needed clarification. I'm trying to understand the process. So this is not something that would have gone back to TPZ, right?
Correct.
And it would always,
Unless we don't allow the petition to go through, then he would have to go to TPZ.
that would be his,
That's his
that
option.
his option that's available to him.
like if
would
he
be-
wanted to get it rezoned, he would go back to TPZ.
That is correct.
Okay, I just want to understand the process. Okay.
Okay. So
May I
we
say
have,
something at this?
yeah, absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the point that the gentleman made about being able to use some for planned development on the property. The area is all residential, so to just say, you know, you can use it potentially for commercial, it's kind of, you know, what do you put there? It's a residential street in kind of like a suburban neighborhood of Newington. So that's kind of, you know, and I get that, you know, you're able to do that as 1 acre, and that's the laws, but at the end of the day, it's all residential homes over there on a kind of a side street. So I don't see that being something that makes sense to do.
Okay. Anyone,
Yeah,
go ahead, Bill.
I was wondering, since the zone had been changed there, why wasn't the property owner informed of that and the limits to it and all that too?
The property owner was a party to the action. When they rezoned it, they requested the rezone. He purchased it afterwards.
He came after.
Okay, so he's afterwards, but the records on that property didn't say anything about being a different zone.
The record, zoning office keeps the records for zoning. It was rezoned, you know, they said they checked the assessor's office and everything else, and they got the old property card which showed it as residential. They hadn't changed it yet.
Is that something that has to be filed in land records, like would be found in a title search?
No, the zoning map is available. The rezone, the approved rezone is filed in the clerk's office, the approved zoning map.
So it would should be found in a title search?
I would think so, but
It's a tough one.
And do these changes, what does that do to the fact that it's a PD zone and then we approve this going forward? What happens? It's now residential?
No, it's still PD
it's still-
zone.
Right, it's still PD zone with this exception.
Correct, with the exception of what he's proposing to do
You're
with the
ba-
addition.
yeah, you're basically allowing the continued residential use on a non-residentially zoned parcel. So if he's builds these additions out to what he wants and in 10 years he decides to move, he can sell that property as PD because that's what it is. It hasn't been rezoned. And whether somebody comes in and uses it as a commercial or he sells it as a residential, they'll inherit the same situation.
Got it. Go ahead, John.
But just to clarify, it almost sounded like he needs our permission. He doesn't need our permission to use it as is.
Correct.
To expand in the legally non-conforming use. Yes.
But that's what I'm saying, but he doesn't need our permission.
If he wants to live in that house just like he is now and not do any additions,
Yeah.
yes, he doesn't need to be here, correct?
So we have an option to, if we have any other questions, if not, we have the option of leaving the, public hearing open as well. Or we can close it after, if we have
I'd
any
like to say-
public. Oh, go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
I apologize. I'd like to say just one more thing.
Yeah.
Back to the point of, you know, if he's going to go for another permit, he might go through this process again. So that was also advised through the town to try to put as big of addition on. So this is like a one-time kind of thing. After this, that's it. There's no coming back for another addition, going through the process again. So that was kind of to make sense out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did advise him. I said, put on, as big as what
But
you want.
He
Yeah,
doesn't have to build that, right?
correct, exactly. He can build it in sections if he wants.
That makes sense. And that's what I figured too when I saw it, because you got driveway, 2 additions. He wouldn't need a permit for a pool. I mean, he wouldn't have to come here for a pool. or-
It's what I consider an accessory use to the house. So I would say no. That's why I said accessory uses, sheds, decks, pools. They are what they are.
Okay.
Nicole, I don't know. I had to do this on the fly with the slideshow
Yeah.
tonight. So I don't know if I put public participation in the right place. So I just want to make sure.
I was gonna say, isn't public participation before we, close the,
Right. That's why I want to make sure, because there's somebody here. I don't know if he wants to speak, but
okay.
I just want to make that.
I have a
Come on
question.
up.
Oh, I have
Yeah,
one more
oh, go
question
ahead,
before you
Sharon.
go. Is
Yeah.
is the house, it has, how many garages does it have? It has 1, 2, and you're putting a third on? Is that what it
Tim,
is?
is that a question you can answer?
Absolutely.
the-
So what it is it's actually going to be added onto the footprint behind the house. So it's still going to look like a 2-car garage, just extended in the back to make it longer. That's just an idea that, I don't know if if you have a garage, but after about 5 years, it becomes a storage unit. So I just thought, if we were going to ever add on, it would be to the back of the footprint of the 2-car garage. That's not something that we're planning on doing anytime soon. It's just something that maybe down the road might happen. So we're told to put it on the plans.
So you're saying you're gonna extend the existing garage, not add an additional garage? You're extending the ones that's already there?
Correct. So
Okay,
that's correct. So if the footprint is 30 feet, it would stay 30 feet. It would just be extended towards the rear of the property.
thank you.
Go ahead. If you could state your name and address for the record, I'd appreciate it.
David Horrigan, 30 Candlewick Drive.
Thank you.
I'm here to speak in favor of the application 23-04. You folks in your conversation stole most of my thunder, but
Oh,
I'll say it anyway. During the zone change process in 2021, myself and others mentioned that changing 65 Culver and 258 Deming Street from R20 to PD would make the properties non-conforming. Mrs. Haltman was living there. She was ill. And we really thought that eventually when she passed, the builder would take it, but he didn't. These poor folks came along and didn't know that they were non-conforming. When we told the TBZ and the applicant that they were creating a non-conforming use, which to me was wrong, for 65 Culver and 258 Deming, which is the southernmost portion of the project. The former town planner told us that,
Southern or northern?
I'm sorry, Northern, thank you.
Northern piece,
Thank you.
yes.
And it's abandoned now, and they started to work like the last couple of
Yeah, they
days.
started to take it
Take it
down,
down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
or doing abatement on it.
Oh, I didn't know they were
There's a
gonna
lot of
take it
abatement
down.
people there now.
Oh, that's too bad.
Interrupting, Mr. Horgan, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
So we're talking about, in my eyes, they did something illegal by making these non-conforming uses, but they proceeded anyway. The former town planner told us that if you did that and left those as R20, that you'd be creating zoning islands. So what they were saying to us is you got this big piece, I think it's about 15 acres. If you leave this 1.8 acres of R20, you're creating an island. Well, that's exactly what they did by leaving the house. In reality, 65 Culver is now a non-conforming use island, and these poor folks didn't know it. It's unfortunate and unfair that TBZ made 65 Culver a non-conforming property. The applicant here tonight needs to pay fees to the town and to a surveyor and jump to these hoops just to get approval, which should otherwise be an acceptable addition to his house. In my opinion, not only should this variance be granted, but the town planner should work with TPZ to rezone 65 Culver back to R20. So in closing, approve the variance, please. And if Eric and his associates can work, at least talk about rezoning the property back to 65 Culver, to R20, it just makes sense.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Anyone?
Go ahead, Tim. Do you have your hand raised? You had something else to say?
No, I apologize. That was from before. I apologize.
Oh, no worries, no worries. There's no one else on Zoom?
Okay. So we have the option, we could close the public hearing, or we could leave it open if we're not sure, if we want to vote on something this evening, so that at least we can leave it open if we do table this for the next meeting. It is whatever everyone would like to do. If they feel confident enough, if they don't, then we can definitely leave it open. What does everyone think? John?
I'd be leaning to leaving it open,
Okay,
because I think it's asking a lot.
okay,
I'm very sympathetic, and I agree with what the public said, but it is, it's a big house. And, again, it should have been a due diligence thing, I think, at the time of the transaction, so. But I am sympathetic, so, just like to have a little more time maybe to think about it.
okay.
But I'll go along with the consensus of the rest of the commission, so I won't hold you up.
No, not holding me up at all. So would everyone else, Sharon, Mike, would you like to leave the public hearing open still too? And
Yeah, I'm
This would
at a
probably-
crossroads, but the public speaker that just spoke, I kind of see the point, and they are good points. The whole concern that I had was that it really should have been rezoned back to residential.
yeah,
This is a mess up. It is an error on the town's part in that they did not correct that, and that the homeowner should not be put into this hardship, not of their doing. I can really see the homeowner's position here, but I think that Eric should probably go back to the TPZ about the situation to see if there's a rezoning possibility.
so here's my question to you, Eric, which I do agree with you, Sharon. I think that it should be rezoned, to be honest with you. But is there an option to get this rezoned instead of granting this, or we would have to deny him? And then he would have to follow through and go through TPZ to be able to be rezoned?
I can discuss with the planner and see if it's something we can initiate internally or the applicant would have to do.
Okay,
Yeah, because I do agree that it is like an island. So he's out there as a,
I just worried, sorry, Sharon,
Oh,
my
go ahead.
fault.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead,
That's kind
Sharon,
of
I'm
all I was
sorry.
gonna say is that, but what the gentleman said about it being an island, and it's kind of unfair, the hardship that he's been put into. And so the zoning should be corrected, because it seems like it was really, should be intended for residential.
I think you're correct too. I think it should be changed. I just worry, I know everyone says they want to live in certain properties forever and anything can change within the next 10, 15 years. And this could be, another problem and we have this again and someone might not like how the house addition was put on. And then we're going through this same cycle all over again. And I don't think it's fair to anyone to have to be put through that.
I agree with that. What you're saying.
Me too.
So I guess we're gonna leave the public hearing open.
Okay. In the interim, I will try and get an answer before the
Okay.
next meeting
Okay. That works.
and see what we
Is-
can do moving forward.
Perfect. Is everyone available for, go ahead, John.
About that, that's kind of a big ask to get something rezoned in a month. So I think as the public speaker mentioned, we could still make our decision here and then he could go in the future to get it rezoned.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't think it's one or the other,
We could still make a decision and then he'd still have to, yes.
he may.
I can try and get a feel of what the planner and TPZ wants to do, but yes, it's not gonna happen in a month,
No.
so.
Well,
So we have that option. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's what you're gonna do, you may just wanna make a motion to leave it open and table it till the next meeting and move forward.
Okay. If anyone wants to make a motion for that, to leave it open, table it for the next meeting.
I'll make the motion
Go
to
ahead.
table this application to the next meeting.
Okay, I'll second.
Oh, somebody else did? Okay.
Nope, go ahead, Sharon, go
I'll
for it. You can second
second.
that. Yep.
Okay,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay,
All right.
You may just want to amend the motion just so we're all clear that we're leaving the public hearing open as well. I don't know if you just said table it. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
I make a motion to table it and leave the public hearing open.
perfect. So is there really a work session for us? No?
No, you've kind of kicked things around already. I mean, you can still, the public hearing's still open. You still have a discussion about it.
Sure.
That's
Okay.
up to you. It sounds like you guys have kind of talked around from what I can tell, but
We just about did the work session in the public session, but that's fine. Minutes of the previous meeting. I'll make a motion to approve them. I've read them all. It seems like it's all the same same people from last time. Anyone wants a second?
I'll second.
Bill second, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Any communications and reports?
I really don't have any, but the only thing I'll ask you guys now is, do you have any questions other than what you asked me to find out for the next meeting about this application? Do you have anything for the applicant that you want anything back on, just so? And if you don't, that's fine. I just want to make sure that all your questions get answered.
Go ahead,
Are
John.
you talking about with the issue with the town planner or going to the planner and discussing it?
Yeah, I will ask that. But is there any other information you guys are looking for to help you
Make a
Specific?
decision.
make a decision, whether it's from the applicant or staff?
Not really specific, but I'd be
Okay,
very curious to hear what
sure.
some feelings they have about what you're gonna mention to them.
okay.
Sharon, Mike, do you have any questions that you would like Eric to ask the town planner while he asks about the zone change?
No, I think that only the one question that we have him going to get back to TPZ is good for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Mike, anything?
No, I don't have any questions. I was prepared to make a decision, but I also agree with getting some more information on the possibility of having it rezoned so it doesn't come back here in the future. So I'll
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Bill, any?
Nothing further.
Okay. How about that, Eric?
All right, new
Works for
business.
you?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
We've already tabled this till the
Yep.
next meeting. Old business, there is none.
Okay.
Is there a second chance for public?
We don't have usually a second one in ZBA.
When you go off the record, I want to say something.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's it. I'm hoping the next meeting is gonna be December 7th, so I'm hoping that Sharon and Mike and Bill and John, we could still be here, and Tim would be an extra. And if he is, he'd still be in, correct? Or,
If he states on the record that he's reviewed all the documents and listened to the meeting and everything, and he's prepared to make a decision, that's fine. If he doesn't, you can leave whoever's seated, and he can just be a
Okay.
bystander.
got it, okay. Sounds good.
The adjournment.
I didn't even think anyone made a motion, to be honest with you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. No, Michael seconded it. There we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everyone have a good evening. Tim, we'll see you on the 7th, and everyone else, I hope to see you on the 7th, and have a happy Thanksgiving,
You too.
everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Yeah.
So. That one.